Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And today I'm chatting with my friend Darryn Wright, who, by the way, Darryn, my cousin's name is Darryn Wright.
Oh, cool.
Just-
Probably doesn't
just-
spell it like me, though.
No, he does not spell it.
Yeah.
It's the old school way, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, I guess. I'm 51 years. I have yet to meet anybody that spells it the way I did, or the way my mom did.
Right,
So,
right. Well, it's
yeah.
unique, right? That's all
Exactly. Yeah. Most people call me Daryl or something anyway, so it's whatever.
good. Wow, okay, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
No, it's
yeah,
Darryn.
After
I don't know how
51
you-
years, you kind of get used to it.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But I don't know how anyone can
Yeah.
mistake an N for an L.
Well, yeah, you would think. And I think that every time I hear it.
No doubt. But anyways, man,
Assholes.
welcome to the show. Hang on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man. This is
Hey,
cool.
my pleasure. And basically what I do here is I chat with people about their journeys away from whatever belief systems they were once a part of. And I generally ask them to sort of, take us back to the days when they were, still in the belief system, indoctrinated, whatever, and how you
Okay.
kind of journeyed your way out, like the things that started making you have doubts and have ultimately brought you to the other side, which we know as atheism. So
Okay.
you can go ahead and tell your story, and I'll just jump in whenever I have something stupid to say.
All right, cool. Yeah, ask any questions. I'm pretty much an open book, so no worries there. Well,
All right.
I was, far back as I can remember, I was going to church. So I know my
Couple of coins I
parents,
missed.
about the earliest, cheers. About the earliest memory I have is I remember this little Lutheran church. I was born in Idaho, so, and I remember going to a little Lutheran church there. Just have a few flashes of Sunday school and stuff like that, whatever. But as the years went on and, got more and more indoctrinated, and then my parents shifted away from Lutherans to basically non-denominational, speaking in tongues, all that bullshit,
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And my dad ended up becoming a pastor, stuff like that. So I was a preacher's kid for several years.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that
and
like?
At the time I dove in with both feet. This was the way of life. This is what I knew. You went to church on Sundays and any other meetings that were out there. And but there's a dark side to that too, because you see kind of behind the scenes, and there was some pretty brutal shit that happened. I remember, God, I guess I'd have been in junior high, somewhere in there. But anyway, my dad and another guy had started a church down in Twin Falls, Idaho. Well, up because I'm in Texas now, but it went really good. For church, it went really well. They, to the point that they raised enough money to pay cash for a building. I mean, it had gym and classrooms and the whole 9 yards. It was a nice building and stuff. But anyway, my dad quit what was a really good job at the time to become full-time pastor at this church. And I don't remember exactly when. I want to say about 2 to 3 years in. The other guy, and I still remember that fucker's name to this day. I even know where he lives.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, he came to my dad one day and said, yeah, this church was all my idea and the whole thing, so you need to go ahead and step out.
Wow.
And my dad just did it. And then about a
Really?
year later,
No resistance? Nothing like that?
No, none. I mean, he's like,
Turn the
okay,
other cheek,
he just,
did he?
yeah, I guess maybe he thought it was good for the flock or whatever, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And I know some people left when he got booted or whatever, but anyway, that asshole about a year later ended up selling the building and taking all the cash and moving to Texas.
No fuck.
So yeah, so that was a fucked up deal. But anyway, I was, head first into everything. I was helping with little kids programs and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, down the road, we moved up to Boise, Idaho. And my dad had a pretty good job there too, had a business. Then he decided to go work for a church full time. And it was a pretty good sized church there in Boise. And no, there was no board or anything. It was him and my dad. There was deacons, I guess, or whatever, elders, whatever the hell you want to call them, but it was not that type of setup. Yeah, it was just not that type of setup. And again, I was late grade school, maybe going into junior high when that happened. But anyway, yeah. So what's funny about that time, I do remember a lot afterwards. You know, my dad was looking for jobs and doing different things. I was going to some private Baptist school, and my dad found a job selling cars there, and he was selling Volkswagens and Porsches and Audis.
Was he putting little Gideon Bibles in the glove boxes? Or?
No, he really wasn't doing much at the time.
Okay.
He was pretty devastated, and so anyway, he would bring home, or we would go see him at work, and I'd get these Porsche brochures, and I was like, man, these cars are fucking cool, you know. So I'd cut out the pictures and hang them in my locker at the Baptist school, and anyway, and of course you couldn't have locks on your lockers or anything like that. They would go through and check your lockers. Yeah.
But locks are for honest people.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I got written up for idol worship because I had pictures of Porsches in my locker. Yes, sir.
How the fuck is a Porsche an idol?
Apparently, I worshiped it because I hung a picture in my.
No. There's a difference between that's a cool car and. Oh,
exactly.
I'm praying to the car. Like, what the hell? I don't get that.
These are hardcore Baptists, man. You know, you couldn't get it. Halfway through the year, I was halfway to getting kicked out. I had racked up enough demerits for, you know, all kinds of shit. So, but anyway, they took me out of that. But anyway, we moved to Twin, and we were part of a church there. And I was actually on the worship team. I played drums, and my mom and dad did the worship and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I miss playing the drums. It's been years, but
I could use another drummer.
I don't think you want me on drums now. Pretty boring. God. Yeah, but
carry a beat.
Anyway,
that's all I care about.
Oh yeah, I can do that kind of, and I'll explain that. I'll explain why later. But then we moved over to Boise, and then we left that church. And of course, at the time, I'm just going with my parents, you know. And I graduated high school, moved to a bigger church that was going on there, and my dad had his own business, and it was doing okay. It wasn't making a killing or anything, you know, but he was surviving and paying the bills, and plus he was doing a lot of stuff at this church, and he ended up leaving that to go be full-time pastor at that church. And yeah, I remember that's probably when I started questioning things, right after high school. I mean, I had questioned things through the years, and I'd always ask my dad certain things, and he'd kind of get mad at me, you know, like, hey, that's, you know, it's not your place to ask.
What?
You know, because God is the answer that I would typically get, you know, and I was, I had 3 brothers.
Well, I got Darryn. What kind of questions were you asking him that he would say that?
Gosh, let me think about that for a second.
Sure.
I mean, just I don't know. It's just, well, like one I really asked him was, I don't understand. You know, there's supposedly all these shitheads in the world that are doing great for themselves, and yet there's all these Christians that are struggling and fighting just to make a living, or dealing with medical issues and all kinds of stuff. And he threw out the Bible verse, and I don't remember what it was, but he said God reigns on the just and the unjust. And I was like, well, okay, whatever.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay. Well, I guess these people are being unjust, or I don't know. That didn't make any sense to me, but I just brushed it off. And part of the issue was too, I was more the rebel child out of the 3 of us, and so know, my yeah, a little bit. And you know, so I think I know I caused him some headaches because my dad was very conscious of his image. He was all about keeping his name clean, you know, and so, you know, that was really what he based a lot of his discipline and faith around was, you know, keeping his name clean and righteous and all that kind of stuff, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, this church, they started getting involved in politics pretty heavy, and I dove in there too. You know, I was a hardcore Republican, you know, fighting abortion and make sure you vote red down the, you know, down the ballot. And there was a lady, she ended up being a congresswoman in the U.S. Senate named Helen Chenoweth, and she went to that church. And so, of course, that church just dove in and, backed her all the way to the core, all the way till she got elected. And
Wow.
I'll never forget her name. But anyway, and then the whole Toronto movement came, the Toronto blessing, where, people are, you've fallen down, you're doing all these laughing and weird things, the pastor would come by and touch your forehead and knock you backwards or knock you on the ground. And
Isn't that
that
like Benny Hinn shit or something? Didn't he do that kind of shit?
no, it was, I don't remember the guy's
Popov
name,
or
but
Peter Popov?
it was born out of a church, and it was called the Toronto Blessing.
Oh,
And that's where things started turning for me, because I would go to
fucking
these
Toronto.
churches. Oh, I know, right? I don't know anything about them, but yeah, fuck those guys. I don't like the Maple Leafs, so. But
I like you already.
but I forgot where I was going. Oh, anyway, that whole movement came. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but it was just nuts. And they'd start having these meetings like 3 and 4 nights a week. And I'm standing there watching, and all these people are, falling over, pastors touching them and praying for them and all this kind of crap. And I even went up to get prayed for, and I thought, okay, if God's going to knock me down, he'll knock me down, whatever. But nothing ever happened to me. And I just thought, man, this is fucking weird. There's something off here. And, and I'd start hearing all these stories and people doing weird things. And one lady prayed for a diamond, and when she opened up the hood of her car, there was a diamond in there. And I'm like,
fuck
your fucking
off.
husband put that there. Yeah. Fuck you. It was just
Diamonds don't
shit,
spontaneously appear under the hood of a
exactly.
vehicle.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. So that kind of started curtailing me a little bit, not full. So I still kept going to church, and I just thought, well, what I get out of it's what I get out of it. Whatever they're doing is whatever they're doing.
Mm.
And then my dad left that church and started a small church in a small town. And that church basically, they supported him initially, and then basically told him, nope, you're on your own. What? So they left them without any financial support or anything. Yeah. And so then my dad was having to,
So
find
loving.
jobs. And oh, I know. Yeah. Isn't it beautiful? Beautiful story. Yeah. And, I didn't go out there to that church because it was, I don't know, like 40 miles from the town where I lived, outside of Boise.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. And I kind of kept going to the other church or whatever, but I knew too much backstory, because I would hear at this time I was married, but before I would hear my mom and dad coming home talking about this stuff and what's going on in the office. And, and this big ass church bought a home in Washington, D.C. and called it a prayer house for Washington, D.C. And they would send people there. And then next thing I know, the pastors and his wife were moving into some big ass house. His kids are starting to come on staff. They're driving Land Rovers, and I'm just going, wait, this is fucked up bullshit, And so I kind of left to bounce around churches for a while, off and on. Didn't really read my Bible or anything. I was just kind of there, And sorry, I'm trying to get my wife to turn the porch light on, but
honey,
yeah,
make my God and let there be light, will you?
I sent her one text, but I think she's talking to her son. So,
okay.
But anyway, so I apologize if it gets a little dark right now. But anyway, long story short, I ended up, I was married at the time, had 3 kids. We ended up moving to Texas because her parents lived here. And that was a pretty bad time. She was very verbally and abusive to me, telling me I was a piece of shit, didn't provide for the family, just shitty father, shitty husband,
Ouch.
She'd spend money as fast as I could try to bring it home, went through bankruptcy a few times. And then it started getting physical, where she'd start attacking me and stuff. And I was still believing at the time. And so my initial thought was, I'm going to hang here until my kids are 18. Okay. I'm going to hang out till my kids are 18 because I don't want them to be from a divorced home and all that kind of crap.
Right.
And my mom, she knew what was going on, and so, and one night my ex had attacked me. I was sitting in a chair, and I don't even remember what it was for. And my daughter, who was, what was she? 14 at the time, and she's daddy's girl, still is. She came at me and started scratching me and all kinds of stuff, and my daughter tried to pull her off of me, and that's when I decided, nope, I can't do this anymore. And even my mom was like, Darryn, you have to decide at what point is what your kids are seeing worse than what divorce will be. And what they're seeing right now is way worse. So anyway, I got divorced, and that all worked out okay. I had my 2 older kids with me. My youngest son at the time went to live with her, and then I'd get to see him quite often. So that was okay. And that was, I don't even remember, 2000. The only thing that's funny is about that is it was the year Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, and that was the same year I got divorced. And we went up to the judge, and because I did no lawyers or anything, because I had no money, I couldn't afford it. And we went up to the judge, and he asked my name. I said Darryn Wright, and he asked her name, and she said Katrina, whatever. And he looked at her and goes, "Ooh, that's unfortunate." It was all I could do not to laugh, just because because her name was the same as Hurricane Katrina, and I was like, I just want to say, dude, you have no idea. 2005. I was like, dude, you have no idea. But anyway, it was a funny moment for me. Anyway, just at that point, I really wasn't going to church anymore at all. So I guess my daughter would have been younger than that even. But anyway, come down the road a few years, and I'm still, I guess, kind of a believer, whatever. Yeah, okay. And I went to the. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to know, like, you say you were kind of a believer, like, what kind of doubts were in your head already at that point?
I was just, part of me, I was having a real hard time with the fact that, okay, there's this all-loving God, but he's going to send everybody to hell. But then he supposedly sent his son to die for everyone.
Yeah.
But
that didn't work, apparently.
So just stuff like that, just real basic questions, just things like, man, that just doesn't line up. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure I can hold on to that. And so I just little things like that. I started going the route of I'm not a Christian, I'm a Christ follower, and
oh boy,
oh yeah. And so that was in case anybody asked, And exactly, because I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to ditch the Old Testament because fuck that guy, This Jesus seems a little nicer anyway. But so it was a few years later, and my daughter was going through some struggles, and I could really tell, that she was in a bad place. And one day she was in a room and just wouldn't come out, wouldn't. And I finally went in and I said, Kayla, you got to talk to me. What's wrong? What's happening? I'm your dad. You can tell me anything. I'm not going to get mad, which I wouldn't.
Right.
I was a really chill dad, and so she came out to me that she was gay at 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I said, okay, cool deal. I still love you. That doesn't matter to me. But of course she was scared to death because she had, remembered stuff from church and all that kind of stuff. And do you mind if I get up and turn that light on real quick?
No, go for it, man. I mean,
okay, thanks. Sorry.
Yeah, I can still see you, but you're kind of like the shadow man.
yeah, exactly. Yep. I asked you to turn this light on. Huh? I asked you to turn this light on. Okay, I'm back.
You figured it.
We're coming back. All right. I don't know if hopefully that'll be a little better anyway. Yeah, that's a little better, and kind of tilt my hat back. Okay. So anyway, she had come out to me as gay, and which I was fine with. And so then I started really deep diving at that point, because my initial thought after, when I went to bed that night, I was like, okay, I've never believed this is something that anybody chooses. Mm-hmm. So I can't believe that this supposed God made my daughter gay and is going to condemn her to hell.
Right.
when he's the one who supposedly created her or whatever, you know. And so I just really started deep diving. I got into some Jay Baker, who was the son of Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, who was a very liberal Christian. I read some of his books, and that helped me come to peace with it a lot more. And then I just started going deeper and deeper, and I finally got to a point. It's like, I'm not sure I believe any of this anymore. I just don't know if I can do it anymore, because it's just isn't lining up. And I wasn't even. I'd probably read the Bible 3 or 4 times through in my life, and I never once saw the issues in the Old Testament. I never once saw the
really
all the screw ups in the New Testament, and all the stories that didn't match. Yeah, I read it with total blinders on,
Yeah.
And even going to church, you just assume that, okay, this pastor is a man of authority. He's gone to Bible school and all this other BS. He's got to know what he's talking about, right? And so you take it in hook, line, and sinker, and you trust the authority of the church and the pastor and all that kind of crap. And but
why would
as
they
I
lie?
had been out of, oh yeah, full on. And so I stopped going to church, so I didn't have that net in under me anymore. And so I just started kind of reading different books and different things, and things just weren't lining up. Like I said, they just were not lining up. I remember one thing that made me feel absolutely horrible is me and my daughter were at a Target, and we ran into the girl that she was dating, and I thought she was just a friend. And at the time, I had really long hair and big old beard, and it was all brown. But
I remember
anyway,
those days.
yeah, right. You remember that? Yeah. So anyway, we saw her girlfriend in the store, and my daughter talked to her and said, "Hey, this is my dad." And she looked at me like I was gonna beat the shit out of her. And I remember that making me feel horrible,
Right.
Absolutely horrible, that she was scared of me like that. And anyway, I let her know. I say, "You're okay," and my daughter told me she's just intimidated because of your looks, and I was like, well, whatever, I guess. Because I have tattoos up down my arms, and yeah,
I get the same.
So anyway, so that was good, and actually they're still together today, and I absolutely adore them both. Yeah, they're a wonderful couple. My daughter's doing great. All I ever asked was that she treat my daughter like gold, and she does. And my daughter does the same for her, and yeah, it's actually really cool.
That's awesome.
So I guess in a sense they're high school sweethearts, that are still going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, move forward a few years.
Like a TiVo.
I met yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because there's not much too exciting that happened in those few years, just living life, trying to be a single dad and that kind of stuff, and working. And so anyway, I met my now wife, who's my third wife, unfortunately. But anyway, I skipped the second one because that was
third time's the charm,
I call that
right?
the rebound. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, so I met her, and we started dating, and had moved in together. And I remember being scared to death of sending the email or the text to my parents at 40 years old, telling them I was going to move in with this girl. It's just, I don't know. It's just, that was the type of, and it wasn't because I was scared of my dad. My dad always treated me good, but we didn't, we got along okay, I would say, but not great, but it was just something I felt like I should, my dad, my mom, always had a great relationship with. Yeah. Yep. Always had a great relationship with. And so, anyway, we moved in together, and she has 3 kids and I have 3 kids. So we were kind of the Brady Bunch, but it was actually 5 boys and my daughter.
As soon as you said that,
so,
I was thinking that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. And I don't know, a year and a half later, in December 2012, we got married. And at that point, I hadn't full on let go of anything. I was still kind of hanging on. I think more hopeful that maybe there was
Yeah.
something true about it, because, I had 40 years of my life
So
invested in this. And
let me ask you something real quick. Do you think you were hanging
yeah,
on because, I think I kind of stuck with the idea that God could be a possibility for a while because of the whole afterlife. I think, fear of dying and that's it. I thought maybe the whole afterlife thing
hmm
might still be true. I fully don't believe that anymore, of course, but
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, and that was absolutely it. I mean, didn't necessarily have a fear of hell,
thanks,
but I
Kyle.
did have a fear of letting go, and
Yeah, yeah,
of the possibility of seeing people after I died. I thought
right,
that, man, that'd be
right.
fucking cool. But and so that was really hard for me, and it was scary for that reason,
Yeah,
definitely. And it was also
initially
scary
it is. I think.
because that was part of my identity for 40 years.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's it was I was I mean, at one point I was going to go to Bible college and be a pastor, and I
Oh,
mean,
jeez,
I gave some sermons. I mean, yeah, I was in it, and so I was like,
in it to win
God
it.
damn, what? I guess, yeah. At the time, yeah, that's what I thought, saving souls for the Lord. And so anyway, I think the final straw was my wife, my now wife. She wasn't raised in church or anything, but she's always kind of believed.
Right.
And her dad is actually an atheist. Her mom's
Okay.
not, but her mom's not a hardcore anything, but
Sure.
she just feels like there's something out there.
Yeah,
And
some higher
so
power sort of thing. Deism, I
yeah,
think, is or whatever.
yeah, exactly. And so my wife asked me if I go to church with her. I was like, well, okay. And we found a church, non-denominational, and it was I just sit there. I couldn't get into it at all. I didn't get that feeling I had when I used to with praise and worship. It didn't. The only cool thing was the drummer they had there was fucking awesome. And so during praise and worship, I just sit and watch him. I was just blown away. I mean, this guy had a partial arm, and
Oh,
I mean, he was shredding the drums like nobody's business. I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember how
wow.
he held that other stick, but good God, you'd never know if you just heard the recording, you'd be like, holy shit, you know. And so anyway, so we
He kind of be like the drummer from Def Leppard then.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he didn't. He could still hold another stick, but I can't remember how he did it. I can't remember if he still had somewhat of a hand, but it was just a little shorter up here or something. But
Right.
anyway, it was just so I'd watch that, and then the dude would get up and start preaching, and kind of feel bad. I don't really feel bad now. I mean, I feel bad because of my wife, but he'd start spouting, and he was a real fire and brimstone bullshit preacher, and he'd say stuff, and I would just under my breath, just like, oh my God, or just that's bullshit, and just saying it under my breath, but my wife can hear me, so she's elbowing me like, knock it off. And so I kept going, mainly for her, but just every week was, oh my God, this is horrible. And I just thought, I cannot do this anymore. And I told her, I said, I can't do it anymore. She goes, that's fine. I don't want to go anymore either, because I don't want to go with you, because you're always having to make these comments under your breath and stuff like that. And I think what finally broke it for me was my dad died in a motorcycle accident in July of 2016.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
And yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I miss him every day,
Yeah.
even though, because toward the end we started having a pretty good relationship. He knew. I don't know if he necessarily liked where I was coming from, but he knew and kind of respected it. Because there was a few times I challenged him, like, "How do you believe in this God anymore? Like, there's no way this is a loving God, and he just looked at me and, well, Darryn, you've been deceived, and I'll pray for you, but that's okay.
No,
But at
no,
least we were able
you've
to
been
talk about it.
deceived.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But at least we were able to talk about it at that point, because before it would turn into an argument, and
right.
he'd just shut me out. And plus, He was not, well, he was not a fan of my tattoos. Um, one time he finally came up to me and he said, so what do some of these mean? And so I kind of told him, and that was the only discussion we had about it. And my mom told me later after he died, she said, Darryn, he was jealous of you because you did what you wanted to do. And he never felt like he could because he had to protect his name. He had to keep that image up. I mean, he wouldn't have a beer even in his fridge in his house, let alone, of course, have one in public.
What? A beer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he did not want to find anybody that would maybe come over for counseling or something and go to the fridge and see a beer in his fridge. I mean,
so what?
Well, at that, not to my dad, it was a huge deal.
Wow. Okay.
And for whatever reason, and me and my brother, we'd get together and we'd talk about all these different beers we're drinking and all this kind of stuff. And, my wife calls me a beer snob because I won't drink the Bud Lights and Coors Lights and, nasty pea water.
People still drink that?
Yes. Especially here in Texas.
They're still selling it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's cheap. I mean,
pea water.
Yeah. So anyway, I actually did. He came down him and my mom came down to visit one time, and we went out to a Mexican restaurant and he had a beer at lunch with me. And that was, I can still remember having that beer with my dad, and he wasn't, they had pretty much closed their church down at that point, and he was doing full-time real estate, but of course still a believer, and still very Republican and that kind of stuff. But, anyway, when my dad died, we went back to that church that we were going to, me and my wife did. The funeral and stuff was very tough for me because, obviously because my dad died, but I think what was really tough was we did a memorial for him, and him and my mom were a part of a church, another church at this point, but he wasn't pastoring there or anything. He was kind of on staff, but
right.
Anyway, so it was a barrage on Facebook of, I'll pray for you. I'll, just the whole 9 yards. And I knew the memorial was going to be very religious, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I did semi okay with that because I know that's what my dad would have wanted.
Sure.
But I just hated it because part of me hated it because they're just going on about, we'll see Don again someday. And I'm just sitting there thinking, no, you're not. This is it. This is the one shot we had with him. And no, one of the coolest things about that memorial service, though, was he was part of the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Club.
Okay, cool.
And so all those guys showed up to that memorial. And it was pretty badass to see like this whole corner. And it was a pretty good sized church just filled up with all these bikers. It was just, I don't know, it was just the coolest thing to see for me, because most of these guys didn't give a shit about God or whatever.
Probably not.
Yeah. And one thing that my dad was a Vietnam vet, and he held that very close to the chest. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't talk about it. He wouldn't, but it tormented him until his dying day. And so I think it was healthy for him to be a part of that club. But it was just his health was going down. And I'll kind of get into that story here in a minute. I mean, that day he really shouldn't have even been riding. He ended up going on a ride with my mom and a few guys, and they were up in the mountains of Idaho, and my dad wasn't feeling good. So he pulled over, and my mom, he told my mom, he said, go ahead, I'll catch up with you guys. Just give me a minute. And she was like, okay. And he's like, no, I'm serious. Just go. And he goes, okay. She said, okay. And they had microphones where they could talk to each other. Mm-hmm. And because my mom rode too at the time. And anyway, my dad, he decided to go ahead, and he was trying to catch up with the group. And he had just got in microphone range of my mom. And the last thing she heard was, oh, shit. And just a big bang. And anyway, he was taking a curve, and
Mhm.
too wide, and ended up hitting a pickup head on. And yeah, so
Oh shit.
um, yeah, and so of course my mom, turned around, and anyway, I sucks for my mom to, she had to be there, and I mean, she told the
Yeah.
medic to stop trying. She knew he was gone, all this kind of stuff. But anyway, it was a tough deal. Um, and
I lost
yeah, and I
my
just that.
biological sister in a motorcycle accident. So
Oh man, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's.
same year, 2016.
Oh wow. Yeah, my
Yeah.
my dad went July 26th of 2016. So yeah, it's or 2015. I'm sorry.
2015. Oh, mine was in
Yeah, I'm
July
sorry.
in
2015.
2016. So I was going to say,
I
holy
was
shit.
thinking it was 5 years. Yeah, it's 5 years, but I did the math wrong. So I have a tattoo of the combat veterans motorcycle um, logo on my leg with
Nice.
his, birth date and death date below it in a ribbon, and on the top it says DW because that's what he wanted everybody to call him was DW. And we used to give him shit all about that all the time because he even had it on his business cards. And I remember one of the last times I visited him in Idaho, I said, "Dad, who calls you this?" He goes, "Everybody does." And my mom chimed up. She goes, "Nobody calls you that, Dawn. Nobody." And I was like, "Dad, you cannot give yourself a nickname, okay? You just
Yeah,
can't do it." But
it's not how it
man,
works.
I know, but he insisted on it and he loved it. So anyway, that's what instead of his name, I got DWDUBYA tattooed on my leg for him. Um, but um, thanks,
Yeah,
Captain Kirk. I do appreciate
that's
that.
that's my neighbor actually.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I apologize, Van. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, Star Trek fan. I don't hate it or anything. I just never could get into it.
I like both.
Oh, do you? That's cool.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a big
Uh,
sci-fi fan. So there's not a lot of sci-fi I
yeah.
don't like.
I mean, I remember the Battlestar Galactica series when I was a kid.
Yeah,
And of course, I had those toys. And
me
of
too.
course, my dad took me to see Star Wars in May of 1977. I was
Yeah,
7 years old,
yeah. I
in
was
the theaters.
12.
So I've seen every one of them in the theaters. It was cool because when they came out with the prequels, I got to take my kids to them. So it was kind of a cool thing to be
Yep.
able to do that, because my dad took me to all the 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah,
I heard coins, so I'll go ahead and.
yeah. There was two in a row right there. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mike
Here.
is throwing out gratis coins right now. He's just here's some
Oh, okay.
extra
I
ones
like it. Hey,
for all
that's
the
okay.
ones
I
I
got a
missed.
beer to drink. So, but anyway, kind of get back on track.
Oh, I'm getting shit from Captain Kirk now.
Oh, that's awesome. You come over and what they have the phasers, set phaser to stun or whatever, and then
Yeah,
he can come over and stun you. So anyway, he died, and I went back to that church, and somehow the pastor saw us. He's like, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a while." And I said, "Well, we just got back from Idaho. My dad passed away in a motorcycle accident." And he's like, "Oh," and just turned around and walked off. I was like, "God damn, that was cold. Fuck
yeah.
this
No
guy,"
kidding.
And I looked at my wife and I said, "I'm gonna be out in the car." And I don't know if I can't remember if I did go out in the car, but that's how I felt. And I don't even remember if we stayed or not because I was seeing red at that point on the rest of the day. And anyway, I knew right then and there, I'm done. This is bullshit. Fuck this guy. If that's Christian love and Jesus love, then they can fucking have it. They can take it all and shove it up their ass. I didn't care. And so I kind of just rode where I was at for a while. And then I really started.
Now,
I started reading.
would you have considered yourself like an agnostic-ish kind of person
Mm-hmm.
at that point? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Questions. I don't know about this. This sounds. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. And I mean, I remember looking up the definitions, and even
Yeah.
looking up the definition of atheism, but that was just a word you didn't say. You didn't go there.
Well,
And
atheism. People
you know,
get so fucking worked up over what the definition. Well,
oh, they do.
realistically, there's the philosophical definition and there's like the colloquial definition, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. Well, because they take it immediately, and especially I think Christians take it as oh, you just hate my God. Well, no, I don't have anything to hate
You
in. I
have
don't
no
even believe
clue.
in your God. Plus, I don't believe in the other 200 gods that are out there.
200.
Until someone,
Oh,
or
keep
however many
going.
there are. I mean, yeah,
Hundreds of
yeah.
thousands have been proposed.
I knew I was shortchanging it. So, yeah. So anyway, I just kind of rode chill for a while. I really had a lot to process in my mind, and then I started. I want to say my brother, my younger brother, my older brother at this point had excommunicated from the family just for whatever. We still don't know why to this day, but fuck him. He was a dick all his life. Um, but anyway, my younger brother, who he had been going to the same church, had been on the worship team. He had even the weekend of my dad's memorial service, we drove to another town and he went and gave a sermon at a church. And I went for moral support for him. But I don't know, one day we started talking and I'm like, dude, I don't believe this shit anymore. And he's like, really? He goes, I don't either. And he goes, and I asked him, I said, I kind of noticed because you quit posting about church and stuff like that. And he goes, yeah, I haven't gone for, I don't remember how long it was at that point. But anyway, he recommended Dan Barker's book
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I
to
have it
me.
here.
And at that point, I had already,
Wait, which
I
one?
think I was the one where he talks about his journey out of the faith. I can't remember the name of it exactly.
Okay. Yeah, because
Hang
he's
on, I'll
got a
pull
few,
it
I
up
think.
here.
So.
Yeah, but it's the one where he basically his biography in a sense. Let me look here. I don't know if I still have it in my Audible or not.
The definition thing here is Zod's got it right here. What's the exact definition of now believing in vampires, and what exactly do you mean by not believing in them? Do you not believe they exist, or believe they don't exist, or yeah, it's just silly. When a person
Oh, I
tells
know.
you, "Listen, I don't believe in gods because I don't think there are any," just take it as that. That's all it really is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just,
Nothing else needs to be attached to it.
yep, there's no proof. And,
Well, some might argue,
yeah, well,
like,
I mean,
remember, look at the
okay.
trees, right? So, well, how do you think
Uh-huh.
all that got there? Well, seed,
Yeah. Well,
probably.
yeah. Evolution. That shit
Yeah,
happened.
exactly.
Um, damn it. I don't have it. Thought I still had it in my Audible, but it's been a few years since I listened, or whatever, how many years since I listened to it. But it was just one really telling his story about, growing up in the church and all that kind of stuff, in the music ministry and becoming a pastor. And then one day realizing he didn't believe this stuff anymore, but yet still kept preaching for another, I think it was a year or so,
Yeah.
even after he knew he
I've
didn't believe it. And,
I've spoken to a few ex-ministers, pastors types that had to keep going until they could get something else to sort of for
yeah.
financial reasons, right? So.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there was two things that got me in that book. One was when he told a story about at this point he was no longer believing, but he was still preaching, and he had gone to a church and gave this sermon, and a lady came up to him afterwards and told him how she really felt the Spirit of the Lord in him through that sermon, and he just walked away going, no, I don't even believe in this thing I was talking about. And then the second thing is because his parents deconverted also, and his mom told him, I don't have to hate anymore.
Yeah. I've heard
And
that before too.
I thought, damn, no shit. That's exactly right. And those, especially with having a gay daughter, that meant a lot to me. That really hit home. And so anyway, then I just started, deep diving. I went Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, and
Yes.
whole nine yards, just really soaking in all I had. And I didn't feel bad doing that because I had already had the other side. I know some people are like, well, you should read those things because of course you're going to go that way. But you know what? I had already gone this other way. I'd already been down this road. And even before I started reading that stuff, I was having doubts. And so that stuff just sealed the deal for me. And then it was at that point, I was like, yeah, I am an atheist and I have no problem saying that. And I will tell people that. Of course, you have to be careful, because I don't say it much at work or anything like that, obviously.
Really?
Yeah, it's not a road. It's not a boundary I want to cross there. I don't know that the owners are believers per se, but because they like to drink, which is cool.
Well, if it doesn't need to be brought up, then just don't bring it up, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't. I mean, when I'm a service manager for this company, and one of my technicians. Well, let me back up before I get there. In April of 2014, I was diagnosed with young onset Parkinson's disease.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Dude.
And it was. I was having a lot of issues and tremors and things like that, but to leading to this point. So by the time I got diagnosed, I was almost relieved. It's like, okay, I know what the fuck this is now, and really the anger about it didn't come till later, but there really wasn't much anger for me. I started getting pissed, and I have a blog called Punk Rock Parkinson's is what it's called. Anyway, it's on WordPress. And so when people started telling me, because I was still friends with a lot of believers and stuff on Facebook, old friends, stuff like that. And people started coming out with me, oh, well, God gave this to you for a reason. And it's like, really? Your God's a dick. And I even wrote a blog about it at one point. I think I said that in there in one of those sentences. It's like, don't tell me that God gave this to me for a reason.
Fucking reason.
God's a dick.
What reason exactly. would there be for that?
Exactly.
Oh, he works in mysterious ways. Well, fuck, really? Here's my mysterious way.
Exactly. He can fuck off with his mysterious ways, because if this is how it is, fuck him, Yeah,
exactly.
And of course at that point I didn't believe, but it was still pissing me off. And so I say that because after my dad's death and my mom started talking about a lot of the issues he was having, I really think my dad had Parkinson's. But of course he was getting treatment at the VA. The VA sucks. And I sometimes I think, maybe if he'd have found out, he could have got on the right meds and whatever and got treatment. But I actually asked my mom about that, and she said no. She said that would have devastated him even more, because then at that point she told me he would sit in his chair because he was in so much pain, because Parkinson's hurts also.
Yeah, I know.
He had stood up and passed out a few times, which happens with Parkinson's people because their blood pressure drops.
Yeah,
and
like
they pass out. He had done that. Yeah. And anyway, she said he would sit in his chair and look at her and go, I don't know why God just doesn't take me. I don't know why I have to live like this. I mean, so he was done, and like my mom says now, he died in Vietnam years ago. It just took him so many years to actually die.
To realize it, yeah.
Yeah. And because he had a lot of nightmares and just all kinds of issues, But
the person
anyway,
he was before is gone. And
exactly. And they had linked. Yeah. The government has linked Parkinson's to Agent Orange very directly, and they'll treat those veterans with it. There are studies showing that, because I was like, how the fuck did I get this? I wasn't really grown up around pesticides or anything. No lead paint. I didn't eat lead paint chips or anything as a kid,
Is it genetic too? Can it be inherited?
Yes. Agent Orange can affect your kids and even your grandchildren. They found, but they won't. The VA will not acknowledge it.
Yeah, of course not.
They don't want to pay for that too, So whatever, fuck the government,
They're perfectly fine, sending you out there to die, but
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
Exactly. So anyway, so that's the only reason I can attribute to why I have it. I've had 2 years ago in March, I had what's called deep brain stimulation surgery, where they place electrodes in my brain, go down into my brain. There's wires that run down my neck to I don't really want to show off my titties, but I got a battery pack right here that they're yeah, right. Sorry, people, that's for the after party. But
it's on his OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I haven't made a goddamn dime yet. No. But anyway, I have a battery pack right here, and it before I had that, I was taking 20 pills a day to help try to control the tremors. I
Right.
stuttered a lot. I had speech issues, difficulty walking, major tremor in my right hand. I mean, it was hard to type, work the mouse on my computer, anything.
Wow.
It
I
was,
heard
yeah. So
marijuana can
anyway,
help with that.
it does. Yeah, they've proven that big
Yeah.
time. Yep.
I've seen a few
And I mean,
different
I've watched
videos of people.
videos of guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I think I've seen
That
about
are
3 or
just an
4 of them.
absolute mess, and they put a little THC oil in their tongue, and I mean, within 10 minutes, you wouldn't even think
Yep.
they had Parkinson's.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm pretty fortunate because the surgery worked really well for me. Um,
Excellent.
yeah, people typically can't tell I have Parkinson's. Every now and then I get stuck on words and stuff like that, but overall, I'm doing pretty well.
Excellent. That's good.
It progresses. The only thing this does is help hide the symptoms. It's still trucking along there in the brain, which it is what it is. I like to joke about it. I like to have fun with it.
What
I
else
had
can
some
you
good
do? Right?
friends. Oh yeah, exactly. You have to laugh. I mean, and there's a lot to be able to laugh about this disease. I had friends that, tell me I can be their bartender now, so I can shake their martinis, and when they need paint stirred up, I can come over and shake it for them, and all kinds of stuff.
Jeez. Honey, the batteries are dead in my battery-operated boyfriend. Can I borrow you for a minute?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I told my wife one time. I said, "Man, you could just sit on my hand, and neither of us have to move. It'll just go to town." Yeah, so she just looks at me and shakes her head, But
You should be like, "Oh no, you
yeah,
got it too."
oh yeah, I know, right? But I mean, she's
We
been
should
awesome
we
with
shouldn't
me
really
through this.
joke about it, but you're right.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, I have no
Yeah,
issues
or to
joking
drive
about
you
it. I mean,
nuts. Yeah.
yeah, I saw the other day. I was coming home from work and I saw a Ford F-250, and it was called their Tremor Edition.
Oh,
And so I took a picture of it and I sent it to Ford. I tweeted it to Ford and I was like, "What the hell, Ford? Finally, a Parkinson's edition truck."
oh no!
Yeah.
Did they
Oh yeah. And I
reply to you
posted.
or?
No, not yet. I was hoping they would, but I posted it on a few Parkinson's groups on Facebook, and everybody got a kick out of it. So that's probably the biggest reason I even stay on Facebook is because of the Parkinson's community there. They're great and supportive. But anyway, so I back to my journey. I guess started exactly, man. You need anything shaken, I'm your guy.
Yeah. Before you
Yep.
continue, would you
Yes.
mind if my who did show up eventually, by the way, if my producer Mikey jumped in? Because
Oh no, not at all.
easily like to
No.
have him, for the closing out of the show, anyways.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I watched. I
You're
caught it
muted.
afterwards. I didn't catch it live, but with brute facts the other night, and I loved
Eddie.
all the stuff you had there. What's up, Mikey?
Yo, cool interview, guys. Cool
Thank
interview.
you. Yeah. So
I was trying to look it up, but there's a specific name for it. But if someone in the chat might know it, they can help me out. But a lot of times why pastors and all them have these giant houses is because the housing allowance is an exclusion from income permitted by Section 107 of the Internal Revenue Code. It is not a deduction. In other words, a housing allowance is money that is not reported as income. So if I get $1 million in donations, but I put all of it into my house, I don't have to pay taxes on any of it. I don't have to claim any of it. None of it is income.
as long as you're a pastor.
Right.
Jesus.
So,
yeah. Well, I heard the other workaround too is they can have the church buy the
right.
home.
Right.
And
and that
which
is,
essentially
that is
they do
technically
anyway.
housing. So you could spend,
yes.
aside from like your electricity bill, all the money on housing and you don't even have to report it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's fucked
not
up.
even, it's not even income.
So they get,
unbelievable.
They get the nice houses, the nice cars. They don't have to pay income tax. Those fuckers got the ultimate grift.
Super. And the tax code is like set up to like prop them up. And I'm like, money right there. You talking about you're gonna have to raise taxes on this. I'm like, can they start? Can we just get like an initial level of them going in?
Well, and there's a lot of atheists here, particularly here in America, that are pretty angry about because these pastors have gotten very political from the pulpit now.
Yes.
And there's the Johnson Amendment that Lyndon B. Johnson passed. I want to say early 70s, may have been, I don't remember exactly, but to where they're not supposed to do that, be political and endorse political candidates, or they can be taxed. And they got all these fucking Trump nuts out here, pastors from the pulpit. But the government isn't doing a fucking thing about it. And that just blows me away. And some of these guys have a fuck ton of money. Guys like Jesse Duplantis and that fuckstick Benny Hinn and who's the crazy eyed one, Kenneth Copeland, and I mean,
Joel
Osteen. Shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fuck that guy. Yeah, like I mean, it's unreal.
I went out for a cruise and we had to fly into Houston, but then drive over. We had to take an Uber out to Galveston, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, this is downtown. This is where the what's it called? The Astros play here." I'm like, "Where do the Rockets play?" He's like, "Oh, they're a little bit further out of town now. They got a new place." I was like, "Yeah, because Joel Osteen bought the old one, right?"
Yep.
And he's like, "Yes, he did." I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, exactly.
That motherfucker has literally a basketball arena as a church. He bought a basketball arena without paying a single penny.
Golden Globe behind him on the stage. Plus, he has a $10 million house and drives a Ferrari, and
no taxes, baby. It's
praise
housing.
the Lord, man.
It's housing.
Yeah. Then wouldn't open the doors of his church when Hurricane Harvey came through.
Right, he locked everything up.
Oh yeah.
He said, "Put chains on them doors. I don't want them ruining my carpet."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
With their wet shoes. It says here the Johnson Amendment is an addition adopted in 1954 to the Internal Revenue Code as a condition for maintaining exception for income taxes and other taxes. Charitable organizations, including churches and affiliated groups, were forbidden from participating or intervening in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office.
Yep.
Or they lose their tax exempt status.
And they're doing that very thing all over YouTube, all over their church video channels.
Oh, yeah.
No one's doing a damn thing about it. And part of it is because these Christian nationalists, I think, I mean, they would probably storm the IRS building if they were to try and do that. I mean, I think it would get violent if they tried to tax churches that were doing that. I really do. Obviously, because what happened on, January 6th.
Yep.
And it's just, it's fucking nuts, man. It's, and of course, and then I'm here in Texas, exactly. Yeah, I'm here in Texas in a major red state, with a piece of shit governor, but a Supreme Court judge in Texas just put a block on his little abortion bullshit ban.
Yep.
So
I heard about that.
Got it.
Yeah, and they've already been tweeting out some abortion clinics have opened back up and are doing abortions again, which is great. It just anyway, it just baffles me. But anyway, so my journey continued on. I dove into a bunch of books. I still Seth Andrews' book was a huge one for me. Deconverted, I think it was. Yeah. Yes, it just outstanding. And I related to him a lot because real close in age. I think he's just a couple years older than me, but he was a Christian radio DJ. And so a lot of the stuff he talked about, I remember those Christian artists, listening to him and all that kind of stuff. But his story was really, really good one for me. And then his
he told it on
Fox News
on my show here too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, he's awesome. I would love to meet him someday. And
he's a very, very, very nice guy. Really, really
he
cool
is.
guy.
And I love his whole approach. He's very gentle, not doesn't, I don't know. He's just very gentle about his atheism.
He's comedic about it too, which is really good.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah. So I enjoy listening to his podcast and stuff too. But then I started, speaking to him, found out about his Thinking Atheist website and podcast, and then just started finding all you guys, and started listening to Aaron Ra, and then I came across Tang, and of course Jimmy Snow, Aaron Ra. Sorry, yes,
Jimmy.
And, and then found the Tang Network and all their stuff, which I love. Yep. So, and I listened a lot to Atheist Experience on Sundays that Matt Dillahunty does with other guest hosts, and yeah, I'm just trying to learn as much as I can. I'm not I listen to most books. I'm not a big reader. I have a hard time sitting down and just reading. So, but
I use
to
Audible
and from
a lot
work,
too.
yeah, I'm a big Audible subscriber. So to and from
Me too.
work, I'll knock these books out just over, a couple weeks or whatever, depending on how long they are. So
Right now I'm listening
anyway,
to
yeah.
some
So I'm.
Doctor Who.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
listening to old
nice.
Doctor Who episodes with like Tom Baker era. So yeah.
I actually just got done listening to David Fitzgerald book, Jesus, Mything in Action, Volume 1. And that's been really interesting because I did start wondering, okay, did Jesus really exist? And is even his story bullshit? And
not the biblical guy.
Yeah,
but
no,
who knows?
I don't think
There
so.
could have been a dude.
Yeah, there could have been, but he makes some real compelling arguments. And it's anyway, his stuff's pretty interesting. Of course, I listen to Myth Vision and Derek and some of his
great.
guests he has. I mean, he delves into a lot of topics, which I absolutely love, and takes both sides, or at least interviews both sides. And his channel's great also. But anyway, I'm just trying to educate myself. Yeah, part of the reason I started kind of going into the Jesus mythicism is because when I was slowly deconverting and I went to that, I'm a Christ follower. I'm not a Christian. I'm a Christ follower.
Right, of course.
And I've heard some people say, well, why is that important whether Christ exists or not? And I'm sitting here thinking, because of that reason right there, because so many people claim that same thing, and if he were proven to be total bullshit, that would fall too, for them, because a lot of people hang on to that. And I guess I get it. They're able to be a little more liberal, a little more to the left as a Christian and remain Christian or whatever. And they, but anyway, that's kind of why I've been really curious about that.
Yeah, no doubt. Hang on one second. We got a train going by.
Oh, no worries. Can't even hear it.
You muted, I think.
Yeah, it's because I muted the mic. That's why.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you live close to the tracks, huh?
Yeah, like it's literally next to me.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Luckily, the train only goes by once every hour.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good. I remember growing up, my parents or my grandparents lived next to railroad tracks, and we'd get to go stay with them in the summertime or whatever. And probably the first 3 nights I couldn't sleep because these fucking trains coming by. And then you finally get used to it, but it was just like, because they would come through all hours of the night, and you're just going, God damn, how you guys sleep through this shit?
We got the just over here, and actually my buddy Secular,
Simply Secular Dave.
Yeah, sorry, Simply Secular Dave works there from time. All the cars and shit come over here, and they unload them, and then they train them over to the mainland because I'm basically at the very tip of an island here with the river that splits around us. And and so there's a train bridge, right? And they go right into, there you go, right into New Westminster and drop off all the vehicles there, and then they get trucked out. So,
okay.
So all kinds of vehicles come through here.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I guess, like you say, you probably get used to it. So
you do. It took a while. The thing because they blast their horn, but they have to every time they come to an intersection.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
But at 2 a.m, you're like, what the fuck? You're not used to it, right? Like,
yeah.
Nobody told me about this shit.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. No
this
doubt.
wasn't in the brochure.
Yeah. The realtor didn't point that out, did they?
There's tracks by us, but I think they just like, if they get hit, they get hit. Like they never, like even if I see them, they never blast their horns.
Oh,
they
really?
they have the gates on either side, and then there's like a ding.
They have to here. It's the law.
They're just
they have to hear. Well, in the United States, period. Yeah, any intersection, whether there's arms or stop sign, doesn't matter. They have to blare their horn, and of course, then they have to blare it all the way through the fucking intersection.
Yeah. Because
So,
that's always the worst.
Like,
if I work at like one city versus another one, like it's I'm pretty sure it's the same track, and it like makes like a little wavy pattern. But God damn it, one city is so much worse than the other one because you will literally like, I can't I can't go around. Like, because normally, like, you can always, like, I can back up, go over like a half a mile, and then cross over the top of the train, and then go on and hopefully get to work on time.
Yeah.
Nope. You are sitting there, and you just
I get
the part, pull my phone out. This is like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Here they're either like there's like just the cabooses, or not the cabooses, the engines go by,
yeah,
or there's like a 4.5 mile long fucking train going by.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Just
well,
settle
I get the my office is over in Irving, and it isn't very far from DFW, so we get all the jets taking off, flying over us or landing, and then right behind the office is North Texas Transit Authority, and their trains run on those tracks, so we get those, all through the day. But I usually don't hear the trains inside the office, and I've gotten used to I don't hear the airplanes unless I'm outside. So, but yeah. But fortunately, we live in a pretty quiet neighborhood, outside of DFW. So
I'm in the plane path too, because the airport is literally
okay, yeah. So you get them both too.
a few kilometers away. Yeah, I get the trains going, or the trains going by, the planes go. I get the trains going over. I don't know how that happened, but
right?
Somebody took a wrong turn somewhere.
That's the Hogwarts trains.
That's the Hogwarts train.
You might want to duck if you're a train going overhead.
Yeah.
Neil, run.
Anyway, well, so Darryn, before we shut this down and get into the after party, you're good for the after party, right?
Yeah, I can hang for a little bit. Yeah, I do need to wrap it up, but I can hang for a little bit. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we do take a little bit of a break, so if there's something you need to take care of right away, you can go do that and then come back and hang with us for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
I do take about.
And is there just do I just link over there, or how does that work?
I'll give you a new link, and you can pop in after that. So you can pop back in whenever you like. But
so that's my story.
Well, what kind
I
of
did want to
advice?
say real quick to my.
Oh, sure.
Go ahead. I mentioned my Punk Rock Parkinson's blog earlier, and I call it that because I'm a diehard or old school punk rocker. So anyway, nice. But so
old school punk. Are we talking like the days of Dead Kennedys, Crass, DOA, that kind of stuff?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Circle Jerks, all those guys. Yep.
Circle Jerks. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I know the DOA boys, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow,
well, I know a couple of them, anyways, because they're from Vancouver.
Yeah, absolutely love Rancid, Social Distortion, one of my all-time favorites. Got to see Social Distortion a few years back. It was just a highlight. And Bad Religion, absolutely love
Bad Religion's fucking awesome. Yeah.
One of the smartest punk bands in the world, man.
Yeah.
Yep. And a matter of fact, the book. Let me see if I have it in there. Greg Graffin, the lead singer, he's a doctor. Has his doctorate in all kinds of biology or whatever, evolution, all kinds of stuff. But he put a book out. I don't think I have it in here, but anyway, it was really good. And then if you want a good journey down SoCal punk rock history, Bad Religion put out a autobiography kind of called "Do What You Want," and it is outstanding because they came up with all those guys, And it's a cool story. Plus, it's you just get a really good punk rock history and stuff. So it's Anyway, I recommend that if you're even remotely close to a Bad Religion fan or even just a punk rock fan, definitely pick that book up.
Look at this shit right here. What the hell's Luminous?
I need to check out some of your stuff, man. The only song I've heard is the intro.
Luminous. It's all eyes.
Yeah, it's all eyes. Yeah,
I only have eyes for you. Sorry.
Nice. Yeah. No,
I like that they're
trying.
They are trying.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Effort,
oh my goodness.
Solid effort.
There you go. My alarm in the morning is Immortal Realm. I actually wrote that song when I still believed that there was something after. So that's kind of where that comes from. Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's
it's a nice idea, but we all know that it's garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now you have to write a counter song to it.
I've got I think 2 or 3 now that I've written.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. One's
Where
called
can
Let
you
It
listen
Go.
to your stuff? Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the new stuff isn't up yet. We haven't recorded it.
Okay. Is there anything on iTunes or anything or YouTube?
Oh, I've got SoundCloud, man. I can give you a link to the SoundCloud.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think I put up the best of our stuff up there. Anyways, there's like it's all professionally recorded, like real studios and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
Cost us a little bit of money, but
Yes.
Yeah. Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
But
in
you
total, I
get what
think
you
it
pay
was
for.
14 grand. I think in total we spent to get all this stuff done. So,
Oh wow,
and,
that's awesome.
And Kyle just put the link in the chat right now.
Well done, Kyle. Beat me to it.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll check it out for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah,
right
so we have different styles, right? Like we have heavier stuff, middle of the road stuff, some classic-y rock feel. With that Immortal Realm, we call it the tribute to the '80s hair scene. So it's kind of like has that kind of a
perfect,
feel
because
to it.
I love all that stuff too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yep. I love a lot of that stuff.
Well, some of it.
I mean, I'm big Crew fan. I love Great White. It's one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, I was not a Great White guy.
Really, man.
I took the oddballs. I like Faster Pussycat, Cats at Boots, Blue Murder, like that song.
Oh wow, yeah, you did jump on the oddballs.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I like a lot of the oddball stuff.
Well, what turned me for Great White was I actually got to see them twice, but it was in a bar setting. It wasn't in when they were big in their days of the arenas, and I mean, I was literally 10 feet from the stage, and those were some of the best concerts I'd ever been to. I mean, they were just an absolute blast. I mean, they had fun with the crowd. They didn't come across as pretentious, super rock star guys or anything. I mean, it was a fun concert. And I like their, I don't know, they just have a real bluesy groove to their stuff.
Yeah.
And, and they started out as a Led Zeppelin cover band.
Yes.
Yeah. And they actually, I mean, they play Led Zeppelin really well. They do it really well.
They do.
For a cover band. Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge Zeppelin fan. Absolutely love Zeppelin.
Third favorite band ever.
Oh God, dude! I'd give anything.
Oh, sorry, second favorite.
John Bonham. John Bonham is hands down my favorite drummer. I mean, I love Neil Peart and Rush. And
Neil Peart's a technical drummer. Bonham is by feel.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, that dude talk about thunder of the gods, I mean, he just tore him up. And even Jason Bonham, his son, he does some really good stuff with
too.
Sammy Hagar. And of course he played on that reunion. Yeah, not a huge, he's kind of pussy rock is what I call him. He's right there with like Bon Jovi and stuff.
He's the fucking, what's it called? He's the Guy Fieri of rock.
Yes, yeah. Well, he's buddies with him too, so they do like tequila together and shit. So, oh yeah,
of course they do.
That's awesome.
Gravity just brought them together.
Yes, apparently, yeah. Gravity and tequila. But anyway, Jason Bonham has his J Blaze, his Jason Bonham Led Zeppelin tribute band, and they have some really good stuff. And probably one of the coolest things I heard was when Led Zeppelin did that reunion concert. I don't know, years back.
Yeah,
and they said when they were, when they said they were practicing, Robert Plant said this, when they were practicing, and John Bonham was back there on the drums. He said it literally felt like, or Jason Bonham was back there. He said it literally felt like John was on the drums back there. Yeah. He said there was times I'd have to turn around just to make sure.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's on YouTube, that whole concert.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
God, yeah, the O2 Arena I think is reunion concert. But I was so hopeful for a reunion after that, but Robert Plant's not having anything to do with that. So
well, he did it for that.
Ton of money.
Yeah, they would have.
Yeah, they did it for I think their producer or something that had passed away. It was a big.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So, but take what I can get of them now.
I don't know if you remember this. Actually, this is stuff we could talk about in the after party too.
Okay.
This really doesn't have anything to do with deconversion. But before we head out of here, first of all, Darryn, thanks for being the guest today. It's great.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yep.
And Mikey, thanks for what you do, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was late.
Oh, I was sleeping so good, dude. I fell asleep to that Squid Game show. God,
I was watching that too before this.
And I had a
Neil mentioned that before before we came on, but I told you
so much
you that you were fired. Maybe that'd wake you up.
I watched it because I heard so much. I'm like, holy fuck, this is insane. This show, but
I thought it was gonna be dumb. I was like, I'll give it one episode, and then that one episode, I swallowed the hook. I'm fucking in there now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yes, as the little banner below says, thank you to everyone in the chats on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you guys had a good time. Also, thanks to my amazing patrons. Everything you guys do for me is huge, and it really does help, and I appreciate it very, very much. So thank you for all you do. And don't forget that Randolph and I are starting up our own call-in show eventually. I'm just going to have to say that from now on. It's called True North Talk.
I'm already subscribed.
You can head over to www.truenorthtalk.ca to get more about it, and it'll give you a link to the channel so you can sub and you won't miss our launch. And myself and some other fantastic peoples are some great new hosts for the revamped, relaunched Nonprofits, which is one of the ACA products that airs at 3 p.m. Central between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience. You've probably seen it before, so you can head over there and give them a watch. Also, the last Saturday of every month, and it looks like it will actually be the last Saturday of October. We're back with the Atheist Drinking Out Loud, with a bit of a hiatus there with Andy and Seamus and myself. Andy has his own channel, Laughing in Disbelief, as it says right there on the ticker, and that's where the show airs. So head over to his channel and give him a sub there. And Seamus is from the Free Thought Prophets. If you're unfamiliar with that show, it's a really good show, and you should head over there and sub to them as well. And yeah, that's about it, everyone. Thank you guys in the chat. There's a link to the after party in the description box. If you'd like to be a part of the after party, well, I'm pretty sure you guys know what to do. You can hit me or Mikey up in the message platforms of your choice. If you don't have any of them, I have an email below, and you can email me, and I'll send you guys a link, and you can jump in here with us and have some fun. Zara K will be in Austin next week. Yeah. Yeah, Zara's great. She's awesome. She's been on the show too. We had so much fun. She's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Send me that link, and I'll definitely jump over there.
Okay, for sure. And anyways, guys, like I always say at the end of the interviews, by the way, well, he's on the iPad, so I'll have to actually send him a link. So I don't think he can do the private chat.
Okay.
Can you do the private chat? Because it's there.
Yeah. You just have to go over to it.
Let me see. I don't know if it is or not. Let me look real quick.
Just let him do the outro music and just hang out for a second.
Yeah.
Okay,
awesome. All right. So anyways, yeah. So
thanks,
we're going to do that after party thing in about 15, 20 minutes or so. So head over to the channel there. You can hang out and wait for us, or you can be a part of it if you like. Like I said, just let us know. And like I always say at the end of the interviews, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.